yeah, I'm just gonna be watching the video, and because I don't know, I just wanted to see if I thought, if this is gonna be something where like Red just gets everything wrong, or it's like I saw they made a video about Dragon Ball Z, and I'm like, oh, that's gonna be interesting, because over these Sarcastic productions, I enjoy them because they, I feel like they sort of do the kinds of videos that I sort of was thinking about, like, oh, it'd be cool if I had a video like back in my old YouTube days. It was sort of like, oh, I wanted a channel like that, talking about like tropes and fiction and stuff. Then eventually I just started realizing that, like, no matter what, you can never be definitive because there's always more context, there's always more things you can learn, and I just slowly realized I think I'd rather just do more personal things, because that is like, you don't look back and like say, oh, that was misinformed like 5 years later. So they're kind of still doing that, and I wonder what they're gonna say that in terms of Dragon Ball and how much they know, and if I know more, if I'm gonna get salty about like, I know more about Dragon Ball. I deserve to be able to make videos that get 500,000 views as opposed to them. But anyway, so let me grab what tab am I? So that's that Twitch have started, and that's all normal. So I guess I'll just open this up.
Hello everybody, and
Oh,
welcome
loud.
to a brand new detailed diatribe. It's a new year, we're all very tired. It was this or I do another myth video. So I hope you're all prepared to hear me talk about Dragon Ball.
Oh no.
Dragon Ball for the next 40-ish minutes.
I am.
Yay! Yeah, so, as you've probably gleaned from the title and or thumbnail, depending on how descriptive I managed to make it today,
My
I'm going to be
computer is
presenting a
not
thesis on why
showing
I
anything.
think the prophecy of the Super Saiyan in the early arcs of Dragon Ball Z is actually really well done and, like, surprisingly well planted and paid off, considering how much of a cultural staple it became and how
Well, I guess
how
now
much
it's
of
a podcast with
foregone
the- oh, there we
conclusion
go.
spoiler it is these days. It's like, it's easy to lose track of the fact that if you look back, wow, that's actually surprisingly well handled. For something as overall silly and kind of dumb as Dragon Ball is. I have, in keeping with the paradigm we established in the Christmas movie showdown, prepared a slideshow to present my points. It's rather longer than my slideshow in the Christmas video. I'm gonna try and keep this concise. I promise. It's just...
Oh wait. Why did it go back to? Huh. That was weird. Oh wait, no, it's just there. It's just there.
in the early
There
arcs
we
of
go.
Dragon Ball Z is actually really well done and, like, surprisingly well planted and paid off, considering how much of a cultural staple it became and how much of a foregone conclusion spoiler it is these days. It's like, it's easy to lose track of the fact that if you and kind of in the Christmas movie show and my slides, it's just next I could go into. So I'm gonna try and keep the brakes on this one so it doesn't get completely over the top.
I believe in you, Red. The most I remember from my youth spent watching Dragon Ball Z was mostly the Boo arc, which is very much not what we're talking about. So I have just enough context to know who most of these people are, but nothing to put it together meaningfully. So we'll get into this and we'll have some fun.
Yes. To begin with, I, as mentioned, must present
Hang on.
context.
All right, let's. Can I full screen this? Is this gonna? All right, Dragon Ball manga. Yeah, initially had Aunt May, Son Goku. Yeah. Several other arcs. You're still calling it sagas, but whatever. Yep.
There's a funny little thing about Dragon Ball Z. It's like chapter 140 onward of the manga, something like that. In fact, we need context. So let's talk about Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball was a manga written and illustrated by Akira Toriyama, and it was published between 1984 and 1996. It was adapted into an anime covering the first 194 chapters called Dragon Ball. Most people in the US did not see Dragon Ball before they saw Dragon Ball Z, because while attempts were made to dub it, there wasn't as much of an audience for it, so they kind of fell flat in the mid-90s. It wasn't properly dubbed until 2001. Dragon Ball Z had a workable dub by 1996. So, most people who tuned in to watch Dragon Ball Z had literally no way of knowing
Yep.
who any of these people were and what was happening. So, Dragon Ball started off as a very very, very basic and goofy Journey to the West parody done by Akira Toriyama, who was at the time a comedic manga creator. He'd done another manga called Dr. Slump about this little robot girl who had a similar bit to Goku in that she was very cute and kind of dumb and extremely strong, and this confused people a lot. He loved writing those characters. So the main character of Dragon Ball is this little kid, Son Goku. He has a monkey tail, he has a big stick, and it flies around on a cloud. Son Goku is the Japanese pronunciation of the characters of Sun Wukong's name. It's real overt. They're not trying to hide it. It's very purposeful. And Goku's whole bit is that he was weird and strong and tough, and it wasn't really clear where he came from. He was just this, cute little weird kid. And the other thing is that if he looked at the full moon, he would turn into a giant monkey. Something he was unaware of because it was like a kind of like a Hulk situation. Like he didn't know that was a thing he could do. And his various co-stars kept this information from him because they had figured out that the first time he turned into a giant monkey, he had accidentally killed his grandfather. And Goku didn't know that. And they were like, we're just gonna keep that information from him because otherwise he might get very sad.
I'm curious as to where this fits into the werewolf canon, but I'm gonna holster that question and let's move on.
Yeah, so basically the first arc was a very simple Journey to the West homage. Instead of getting scriptures, they were collecting Dragon Balls, which were these 7 mystical orbs, and if you got all of them, you'd put them together, and a big dragon called Shenron, or Shenlong, would come out.
Okay, I'm glad that she said Shenlong there, Red's mostly a bit of a dubby, I think, but, the fact she's like, okay, maybe that's just a dub term. It's like, okay, you know what? Respect.
Would be inert for a year and then they'd recharge. There are very many easy puns. Everyone's already made all those jokes. We won't touch on them here.
Dragon Ball itself has made the jokes.
Show up in Dragon Ball Z, so anyone who's watched Dragon Ball Z will be passingly familiar with them. But he trains under Master Roshi. That's when he meets Krillin.
Dragon Ball indeed, Blossom.
Everybody likes Krillin. He's great. Various other characters.
I'm being a silly fangirl and seeing how well they talk about Dragon Ball.
So that's the general gist of Dragon Ball. The important details going into Dragon Ball Z are enumerated on this slide here.
Crash
course. Goku, we have the Dragon Balls, we have the guy who made the Dragon Balls, and his evil twin. Most people forget about that because Piccolo's really the only part of that functionally matters in Dragon Ball Z after a while. He's got a bunch of friends, don't get attached. He's got Bulma, you can get attached to her, and it's dumb as hell and fully a comedy. Something that kind of got
is that the kill you?
In the middle several years of Dragon Ball Z, I'd say. So,
I mean, you can talk about the kill you written on his shirt, but you can also talk about the fucking pillar, because it's iconic. Even if Toriyama forgot that he even wrote it, Tao Pai Pai and the pillar is, fucking iconic.
Any questions thus far?
No, I mean, I'm pretty much on board with how everything works. I remember most of the characters. I'm just looking at Goku's silly face. It's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toriyama's art style changed a lot.
It is important to remember that this was a comedy at first, because the part of the show that I'm familiar with, it's super not.
Well,
the Boo arc is...
Of the
well, I mean, you say that, but the Boo arc is probably the most comedic that it was for the last 5 years or so. Boo arc is so fucking weird because it is that pure contrast between the goofiest shit that they ever get and the highest stakes that they ever get. You literally have Super Saiyan 3 7-year-old who's acting like a 7-year-old but is also Super Saiyan 3. You have Majin Buu being, I'm busy wiping out every human on the planet and then I'll play with you. And Piccolo's like, why don't you just play a little bit longer? And then he's like, okay. He's like, surely there are some humans you've got left to kill. And Bruce is like, okay, there you go. Pew, 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 pew. I just killed every human on the planet. Now let's go. And it's it's weird because you don't know if Toriyama's intentionally trying to make this not exactly satirical, but this weird contrast between lives of thousands and millions of people and the fate of the world and people being absolute fucking idiots and goofballs. It's fascinating.
Is pretty solidly in line with the tone of the original Journey to the West.
Yeah, it's silly, and like the original Journey to the West, it would get serious when villains were introduced, like Goku and...
Oh yeah, it's a famous thing. It's in an interview with Toriyama and Eiichiro Oda, the author of One Piece, and then Oda is going on around Tao Pai Pai, and Toriyama's like, oh yeah, did I write that? Huh? Yeah, I guess I probably did.
and friends were very silly, but like serious stuff would happen. I think one of the first times that the story got really serious is what's known as the King Piccolo arc, where so you see that green guy, Kami, and you see the other green guy, the one with the cape.
Yeah.
I mentioned it.
I think it's also the point you probably also mentioned. You know, Kami is just literally God. He's just fucking God. Like that's why it's God. It's a green alien.
The previous slide, but I didn't go into detail. Basically, Kami is he's a good guy, but he's good because he balled up all of his evil and he sort of split it off into a separate being, which is usually a bad decision. And in this case, that separate being was King Piccolo, and Kami sealed him away for a while. But at the beginning of the King Piccolo arc,
I wonder if
unsealed
Red's doing the
and causes
editing
a
or
huge
someone
amount
else
of
is.
trouble,
'Cause there's a lot of
including
editing.
killing Krillin and Master Roshi, which makes Goku extremely upset. So those two have already been wished back to life by the Dragon Balls, because they had to do that after that arc. At the end of that arc, Goku kills King
Yay.
Piccolo, but King Piccolo spits out an egg, and then the egg hatches into an adorable baby copy of himself, and then that baby copy grows up to be Piccolo in Dragon Ball Z. Which is quite a lot of backstory that Dragon Ball Z never ever brings up, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
That is a lot. I remember Piccolo used to be evil, but I didn't realize it was a different guy who was different from the other different guy.
Yeah. Little Piccolo also used to be evil, but he got reformed. They were clearly setting him up to be like sort of a recurring Vegeta-type villain, and then they just introduced Vegeta instead. So Piccolo just became a good guy almost immediately.
I think the order probably more went that Piccolo went he's like, okay, we've sort of reached the end of what I can do with Piccolo getting redeemed, so we need a new antagonist. I think Piccolo getting redeemed was first, and then they decided to keep Vegeta around, considering Vegeta's design does not scream I'm going to stick around. Like, it doesn't.
After Dragon Ball ran its course, with the various arcs, getting the Dragon Balls, World Martial Arts Tournament, etc.
No, this video isn't about Dragon Ball specifically, all of it. It's just talking about basically why Red likes the Freezer arc, I think, and so this is just the context.
King Piccolo, Piccolo Jr., they went into the shiny grown-up sequel. In the manga, there is no distinction between these. It's just one chapter, they're wrapping up the Piccolo Jr. arc, and then the next chapter, the Saiyan saga begins. It's extremely jarring if you're just reading it linearly. But, of course, during the anime release, Dragon Ball Z was a completely new show. It basically drops in episode 1, and nobody watching has any context for who any of these people are if they're in the States. There was a bit of a time skip. They did this fairly regularly. Like, after an arc would wrap up, they'd time skip some months or years and just, between
once again, also, obviously, it like, in Japan, even, it still does go from Dragon Ball episode, 153 or whatever, to Dragon Ball Z episode 1 the next week. Like, it's just like, it's almost like season 2 now of like there's a new OP, there's new opening, there's new ending, there's some new soundtracks. But like it's just a continuation. I think Lance done everyone's done videos on it. But basically, the actual truth about it is like they could get more marketing money if they rebranded it. Also, because the Z stuff like came in to help in. I forgot who was on the Dragon Ball. I think Daisuke Nishio was from Dragon Ball, and he was still in Z, and then it was it was Takao Koyama and someone else who I forgot who they brought in. No, it's not Yamauchi. I think Yamauchi was just like working. I don't know. Anyway, whatever.
Time skip, Goku went from being a chibi monkey to a large man, and that was about as extreme as it ever got. In the pre-Dragon Ball Z time skip, Goku has had a kid, Gohan.
Hi, Gohan.
Other than that, not much has happened, and it kicks off with the Saiyan saga, where an alien crash lands on Earth, and suddenly we know a lot more about Goku. So the gist is that all of Goku's weird the tail, the being really strong, the turning into a giant monkey, turns out that's because he's actually an alien from an alien planet where everyone can do that. But also the planet was exploded, and there's only 4 of them left, which is Journey to the West reference. I didn't realize, but there's a bit in Journey to the West where it's brought up that there's actually like 4 sort of weird divine monkeys that don't really fit into any of the categories of heaven and earth, and they all have different powers, and monkeys are just one of them. And He kills one of the
Ah.
others, which is great and super on brand. We'll get there, of course. Yeah, so that was
Great.
cool. And they kind of established, like, oh yeah, so, you know, Goku, oh, why did you end up in the woods? Why were you adopted by that guy? Well, you know, you fell to Earth in a space pod, and then you bonked your head and became a certified good boy and a protector of the Earth. And the Saiyans are actually bad. They're all jerks. Well, at least all three of them.
So basically, in the span of one episode, the world expands from like, oh, it's Earth but weird, to like now there's space and everything crazy and different.
Yeah. It
Just
does.
happens all at once.
Yeah, all at once. It is important
Cool.
to note that the world of Dragon Ball, while it is Earth, is like a very goofy Toriyama Earth. You know, there's like,
Well, yeah.
there's dinosaurs, there's
Yeah.
animal people. One of the characters has 3 eyes. This is never discussed as weird or even noteworthy. It's just, you know, it's a very big, colorful
whatever the
world
fuck
full of interesting
Chiaotzu is.
people. And now it turns out there are also aliens. And while they're discussing this, it is also revealed that Kami and Piccolo.
Yeah, you know, there's aliens. God is an alien. There's a racial stereotype that's also never addressed. You know, it's a weird world. It's a weird world.
Are a different kind of alien, which is cool. And it is established that while Goku may be very, very strong by Earth standards, by Saiyan standards, he is a weak little baby scrub lord. Oh no. So, some stuff happens. I mean, you know, we're kind of
Hang
breezing
on.
through this. This is
What actually? Okay. Actually, what is saying this? The helmet was destroyed by a meteor, or was it? Blah 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 blah.
Goku may be or at the Super Saiyan.
Okay. Goku Piccolo. Hey, good news! Dragon Balls. Blah 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 blah. Goku stays dead. Blah blah blah. Yeah. Here's Goku's Gohan to be badass fighter because he sees great bit of power in him, but the kid's like 3. They end up bonding, and Piccolo's maybe not a bad guy after all. What a twist! Goku's other friends also train to bond, but don't get attached.
And becomes relevant. This is just relevant context. So the Saiyan who came to Earth, I forgot to mention this, his name is Raditz, and he's Goku's brother. You'd think this would be more important. It's not. Raditz
Thank God.
is fought and killed by Goku and Piccolo working together, which is very funny because if you've never watched Dragon Ball, you've got these 2 characters who you don't know, and they're like, huh, I never thought I'd be fighting alongside you, my old enemy. Yeah, well, I'm not a big fan of it. And you're like, who are you people? What's happening? And then, of course, immediately, they're like on the same page. So they kill Raditz, but Goku sacrifices himself in the process, and for the first time in Dragon Ball canon, Goku dies. Oh no, but that's okay. It's in the title, baby. They can just wish him back with Dragon Balls, which Piccolo thinks is a good idea to brag about to Raditz, and Raditz's 2 buds hear about it over his communicator thingy and are like, sweet, let's go to Earth and destroy the place. So Goku, while he's dead, spends some time training with this goofy little man who, you gotta understand, Toriyama always puts silly shit in his stories. No matter how serious it's getting, there's always something dumb. And in this case, the guy he's training with, King Kai, will not train him until he tells him a joke that makes him laugh. Later, when other characters show up, it includes 2 incredibly serious and stoic characters. And if you read the manga, the narrator is like, and now Tien and Piccolo face their greatest challenge yet. And it's
Yeah.
extremely funny because Toriyama's a funny guy.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. I swear, man. Dragon Ball
It's
Z
good.
is
Like it's good in the manga because like they don't actually show. They don't show like they basically they show the part of them all being there at Kaio, and then he's like, all right, now you guys have to make me laugh, and then it cuts off there. You don't find out how they did it. They're just like it just cuts off there because that's the end of the gag. You don't need to show it in filler, you know.
lot when it gets overly serious. But yeah, so basically Goku's training in heaven with this cool guy, and Piccolo takes Goku's son Gohan to train him because Gohan
Totally Not Mark. Okay, see, I haven't watched Totally Not Mark videos because I don't really like them. I'm salty as well. And I've seen a way enough of how he titles some of the videos to sort of know I think we won't agree in things, and because Goku versus Frieza is not pure good versus pure evil. Goku is not purely good. He's pure, but he's not good. Like that's a crucial point, guys. Whatever. Anyway.
Gohan is only like 3, but he's got this weirdly powerful reserve of strength, and Piccolo's like, well, he's 3 and has no idea what he's doing, but I bet if I train him for a year, I might be able to turn him into a great weapon that I can use to conquer the world and definitely won't get very emotionally attached to, so that's going well. Goku's other friends also train. I'm sure they stand a chance. Part 2, the other 2 Saiyans arrive. It's
Yay,
been a
dead
year,
Yamcha.
and they are Nappa and Vegeta, and everybody knows about Vegeta. Most people don't remember Nappa. He's not that important.
Unless
So
you
basically
watch
they
a
show up,
bridge,
and everyone
yeah.
assembles to fight them, and everybody dies. dies, except for Krillin and Gohan.
Krillin doesn't die. That's a shock.
Yeah, Krillin doesn't die
Yes.
yet.
Oh.
But yeah, so the gist is that Nappa's real strong, and Vegeta's not even doing anything. He's just standing around. And Nappa, just by himself, kills the friends, you know, Goku's friends from Dragon Ball. And Piccolo heroically sacrifices himself to protect Gohan from being exploded, and then he dies. Now, unfortunately, while this is very heroic of him, this does mean that the Dragon Balls no longer work. I had this on an earlier slide, but neglected to mention it, because Piccolo and Kami are sort of the same being. If one of them dies, they both die, and because Kami made the Dragon Balls, if he dies, they stop working. So what this means is that everyone's dead and they no longer have their get out of death free card. So that's
Whoops.
bad. But fortunately then Goku shows up and he immediately defeats Nappa. This will
And that's
become
really
a
interesting,
trend.
Ozymandias,
Goku will
that you got to
immediately defeat
watch
the
it all in
person who's been
order.
wiping the floor with everybody and then have trouble with that person's boss. It's a very standard rhythm. He defeats Nappa by like breaking his spine, which is pretty brutal, and then Vegeta kills Nappa, which is more brutal, and then he and Goku go to fight, and they fight for a while. And I don't have any footage of that because it's really not important for our purposes here. I'm just contextualizing lest we forget. But it is pretty cool because it establishes an important theme in
Yeah,
the
here we go.
show
Training
overall,
versus talent,
which
blah, blah, blah.
is the concept of natural talent versus hard work and training. In all of Dragon Ball, Goku is constantly training and learning and improving and growing and getting stronger. And of course, at the beginning of the Saiyan Saga, it is revealed that that got him up to a level where he can almost stand up to the weakest other person of his race of naturally talented warrior badasses. So Goku started from the bottom, and now he's here.
Now he's at the slightly different
Hang on.
bottom.
Yeah.
Selfish for Goku, so deliberate low powered, blah blah blah. How Vegeta's confused. Goku trains in martial arts and seems very alien to Vegeta, who mostly focuses on energy blast and turning into a giant monkey with things to herself. Whenever blah blah blah. It's also revealed that Saiyans. Oh yeah. Yeah, Vegeta's never had to improve a day in his
Now he's
life.
found the new bottom that he's starting from.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, Goku is constantly working to improve himself. So, you know, he fights and he dies and he's like, wow, what a great opportunity for more training. So, you know, he's very delightful, very sunny personality. Vegeta, meanwhile, is the prince of all, at this point, two Saiyans.
Well,
Two and a
I mean,
half.
yeah, I mean, just gonna say, you know, at this point, he has not said he's the prince yet. The prince thing they come up with when Dodoria shows up, you know, like during this part, he's not prince. He's just an elite one. He's like naturally better than Goku. He's just a Saiyan. He is not special. He just like he ends up representing all of the elite Saiyans because he's the only one that's there. Like it's fine. Guys, stop making it a bigger deal than it already is. Like Vegeta's just. He could have been disposable. It's fine. You could have disposed of Vegeta after that arc. It's fine. They were not hinting at anything.
And he's pretty big on the whole divine right of kings thing. He's a naturally talented warrior prince, and he's a total badass, and there's no way this will be even any sort of competition. So even though this fight doesn't really end well for either of them, Vegeta comes away feeling much worse about it, because even though they both got their asses kicked, Vegeta's the one who felt like that shouldn't have happened at all. He develops a bit of a complex about this, of like, oh, I thought I was the hottest shit in the galaxy, but this low-class Saiyan trash managed to work his way up to being almost on my level. That's ridiculous. I don't like this.
Him and his like 4-year-old son and a bald midget and some fat guy with a sword. Yep. Yeah, basically that.
Gotta get stronger, and suddenly Vegeta's caught the bug that Goku's had since day one of must get stronger. So that's cool, and it's an interesting theme that they sort of keep bringing up. It's sort of a subtle underpinning of the next saga, the Namek
Yeah,
saga.
sort of
The
enough.
inciting incident of which is that, well, hey, all our friends are dead, and the Dragon Balls don't work, and so what are we supposed to do? And they remember, oh, hey, didn't one of those weird space monkey guys say that Piccolo and Kami were like aliens from this planet Namek? Well, if they could make Dragon Balls, maybe there are people on that planet who can make Dragon Balls. We should go and find out. Improbably, they are right about all of this, but that's not the problem anymore. The problem is actually that because word has got around that there are these things called Dragon Balls that can grant incredible wishes, some really bad people are after them now, and Planet Namek is currently being attacked by some real bad dudes.
Because they used to be entirely localized to Earth.
Yeah, well, I guess
Yeah.
it's that Earth was like this little backwater dirt ball that nobody ever visited, so they had no idea that they had these incredibly powerful magical artifacts.
Right.
So that's cool. And Namek was kind of in the same boat. You know, it was just these two little backwater places. But now it turns out, oh, they've got these incredibly powerful things that can, like, make you immortal. That's the thing everybody always says they're gonna wish, but it never actually happens because it would be completely game-breaking. So it turns out...
Unless, except in the first movie and, well, the first C movie, Garlic Jr. And apparently the Garlic... I have never actually watched the Garlic Jr. arc, but apparently then Garlic Jr. arc as well, it's just like well, we don't... I mean, he's technically immortal, so how do we beat him? He'll just have to summon the Dead Zone again, because that's the only way you can actually beat him.
Namek is being attacked by evil Space Emperor Frieza, who is Vegeta's boss. It is also being attacked by Vegeta, independently of Frieza. Krillin, Gohan, and Bulma...
So does Goku fly off into space by himself?
Yeah.
Or does he have, like,
Okay.
He hitched... Oh, okay.
So, basically...
That's gonna be hitched a ride with Vegeta.
That would be the funniest thing. But no, Vegeta's already off in space. He like gets into his space pod and leaves. Krillin was going to straight up stab him, but
Hell
Goku
yeah.
asks him very nicely not to. So Vegeta flies away instead.
Right.
Okay, 'cause he didn't mention the part, like, in fact, that's actually the thing that even the Viz manga doesn't fully, fully translate it in the right way, where you know, the whole thing is like he's like how dare, you know, you guys he's like, please let Vegeta live, and he's like no, I want to because he's so strong and you can't just kill him. I want to try and fight somebody strong like that again. And he's like, listen, I know it's selfish and I know it's stupid, but please just let me give me this one thing, right?
And Goku's recovering in a nice comfy hospital bed. They established in Dragon Ball that there are these things called sensu beans that can heal you up instantly and replenish your energy, but they take a while to grow, and there's usually only plot-specific small number of them around
Yes.
at any given time, so that they can be used up and people can be out of commission for a while. And that's what happened after this. They don't have any beans, so Goku goes to a regular hospital while they grow more beans. So he's out of commission, and Krillin, Gohan, and Bulma fly off to planet Namek, not expecting any trouble. They are immediately attacked by bad guys, and their ship is blown up, so Goku has to go and rescue them, and his ship will take 6 days to get there. So he's got 6 days to train, which we know he loves doing more than anything else, while everyone else has to try not to die. So that's fun. It's a pretty fun setup for a sort of a desperate cat-and-mouse situation. And now, on to the actual point, baby! So, throughout the course of the beginning of the Namek Saga, this term starts popping up, and that term is Super Saiyan. If you squint, we've actually heard this term once before.
See,
but
so
not
yeah,
in
this
specific-
because this is what I was looking, because Red was reading the full colors, and I was like, oh, that's cool, that's neat, and so yeah, hang on, actually, let me just listen to this.
The context. Nappa actually says it at one point when he and Vegeta are flying to Earth, because they noticed Gohan's powers spike on their like little power level reader things, their scouters, and they're like, huh, looks like hybridizing Saiyans with humans produces a powerful hybrid thing. And Nappa says, oh, a Super Saiyan, huh? Do you think we should go and spawn off a Passel ourselves? And Vegeta's like, no way, broski. I hate the idea of spawning off a kid that's stronger than me, which becomes hilarious later.
That's true.
But,
That's true. So, because I think even like there's a Kanzenshou article, and I think when Nappa says Super Saiyan, it's spelled slightly, it's like spelled slightly differently, so it's like not the exact term, but you know, you could believe that Toriyama thought about that and then he reused it, but it's not very specifically the same thing.
It's the first time we hear the term Super Saiyan, but it's clearly
Yeah.
not referring to what it's referring to in this arc.
Okay,
So
yeah.
the first bit of information that is relevant to this is that we are informed that the Saiyan homeworld was not actually just exploded by chance, it was in fact purposefully blown up by Frieza, because Frieza kind of noticed that Saiyans keep getting stronger, and he wasn't the hugest fan of that. Frieza is kind of evil space emperor of the universe, but it's almost entirely a might-based meritocracy, and he doesn't like the idea that somebody might get stronger than him someday and cause actual trouble. So he blew up the whole planet, you know, for funsies, which is, you know, the kind of thing that might motivate a hero for revenge in any other story but this. It does
Yeah,
motivate
'cause this is
Vegeta,
Dragon
though.
Ball.
Vegeta's pretty pissed about that. Not because he particularly liked the other Saiyans, it's more a matter of the principle of the thing.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, and the term is brought up directly, I believe, for the first time by the Grand Elder Namekian who created the Dragon Balls on Namek. When he learns that there was a Namekian who made it to Earth but was killed by a Saiyan, he's a little confused by this, and he says, oh, was it possible that that monster was a Super Saiyan? And Krillin says, what's that? And instead of explaining, the Grand Elder Namekian just uses his psychic powers to, like, glean the information. He's like, oh, I see, he split himself in half, bad move, bro. And then the next time we hear the term...
Right, and I'm pretty sure, like, there's no reason why he knows what a Super Saiyan is. It's just plot. Magical grain space elders just know everything that the plot needs them to know.
From Super Saiyan, Frieza's having this little inner monologue about how he's had this like sort of bad feeling, this like premonition that somewhere in the universe maybe there's a Saiyan who's become an issue for him, and then it just like smashed up to Goku because, you know, we're not being subtle. What show do you think this is? Now, the term has been planted, but nobody's explained what it means yet. This is important because it's part of the prophecy planting. Now, we do eventually get more details about what the hell a Super Saiyan is, but they're all coming from Vegeta, who is an unreliable narrator under the best of circumstances. For the purposes of this thought experiment, we're gonna pretend like pop culture osmosis has not taught every single one of us what a Super Saiyan is from the moment of birth, okay? We're just gonna close our eyes and make believe that it's 1996 and we're seeing this for the first time, okay? So part of
Well, like, 1990. Yeah, 1990. I think 91 is when Goku transforms, so maybe he was still holding over by that point.
Work is that it is vague. The term gets thrown around, but nobody says exactly what it is. With a lot of fictional
because they don't know what
it
it is.
Really that much to the imagination. It's like, oh, a great warrior will arise and draw the sword from the stone and slay the dragon and defeat the blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, all of those things are literally going to happen. Cool.
Yeah, super is a very vague adjective because it could mean anything.
Exactly. From Vegeta and occasional other context clues, we glean a few details about the fabled Super Saiyan, which is that it is a Saiyan who's transcended.
I mean, I could just go to Kanzenju right now and check when every chapter of the manga came out, but what's the point?
Which is a difficult measuring stick because that applies to Goku and also Vegeta at this point, so that's cool. The mightiest warrior in the cosmos, which is subjective. The only thing Frieza ever feared, which is unclear. And
yeah,
Vegeta
I mean, because there's like logically, there's no reason how Vegeta would know that because how would he? Like, who would have told him that? I assume that might just be that could honestly even just be Vegeta's ego speaking, right?
That the Super Saiyan is merciless, loving bloodshed and battle above all else.
And that's not what Vegeta. I can't remember. I think it's either Vegeta or Captain Ginyu says that.
There's this little bit where he envisions what a Super Saiyan would look like, and he envisions it as like the Saiyan Ozaru giant monkey form, but like gold and shiny. It's clearly not meant to be like a literal representation of what it is, but that's how he's thinking of it. So that sort of primes the audience to think of it the same way. Like, we already know Saiyans can
hi, sorry,
so
Hikaru.
Presumably this would be like that, but shinier or something. And that ties into the second trait about it, which is the uncertainty. We have a lot of descriptors, but we don't know how it works, what it looks like, what it does, if it's real, if it's
real, exactly.
Frieza, who is pretty unflappable at this point, he's kind of a frustrating bad guy for this specific reason, in that he really doesn't have any weaknesses. It's just a matter of like, maybe if we hit him with something really, really hard, it'll work.
Maybe if we kick him in the nuts, that'll make him flinch.
Well, he doesn't have any nuts. He doesn't have any nuts.
Vegeta will not shut up about the Super Saiyan once he gets it into his head that it might be a thing. So basically, that happens after Goku finally arrives on Namek. He's been training for 6 days, using the artificial gravity generator thingy in the ship to train at 100 times Earth gravity. And when he shows up, he's really, really strong, and he immediately beats these 3 bad guys that were absolutely wiping the floor with Krillin, Gohan, and Vegeta, who's reluctantly teamed up with them at this point because of how scary those bad guys were. This is going to become a trend. So Vegeta sees Goku and how strong he is and how effortlessly he took down these guys that were mopping the floor with him, and Vegeta begins an existential crisis about it. He just spends the next 10 minutes inner monologuing at increasingly high volumes about how Goku could possibly have gotten this strong, and whether
to be fair, it's not as drawn out in the manga, of course, and it's also not as drawn out when it's not like early Chris Sabat.
This means he's the fabled Super Saiyan, which Vegeta thought was just a myth, and also something only he would ever have the potential to do. So this is just bad in a lot of ways. Vegeta's just not having a good day, and it won't get better from here.
Yeah, thus begins the single bad day that will dominate the rest of his life.
Yeah, the Namek Saga.
Well, the bad 6 days.
Terrible, horrible, no good,
very bad 6 days.
But then Vegeta sees Goku show mercy to the bad guys. Now, this is actually a very common thing for Goku. Like, he really does not like killing bad guys. He really only does it if he absolutely has to, and even then I think he's only done it like twice. And even with Piccolo Jr., young Piccolo, when he showed up, Goku beat him and then gave him a sensu bean and was like, heal up and come back and fight me later when you're feeling better. And Piccolo's like, hey, you'll regret this. And then he didn't. It's just that happens a lot. So Goku is a very sweet, merciful guy.
Like, it's weird because it flip-flops. It flip-flops because Red Ribbon Army, during the Red Ribbon Army, Goku seems to basically murder everybody there and has no qualms about it. But then when it comes to Piccolo, it's like Piccolo is unforgivable because he killed Krillin, but then Piccolo Jr. has not killed anyone or something, and like he's just like a, it's weird and inconsistent. I remember Xeon and I made a video about this years and years and years ago, and like we sort of like why is it is Toriyama just not really sure whether Goku is gonna kill people or not? But it's whatever.
Who always believes in second and third chances for people, and Vegeta thinks, oh thank God, he can't possibly be.
Well, like it's because it's like because like with the Ginyu stuff, it's weird. I guess the Ginyu stuff is because like he has no emotional attachment to them. I don't know, like he doesn't, because it's not a second chance thing. It's just like listen, I beat the shit out of them. They can't move. Like, there's no point to killing them at this point. Like, it's not even worth it. That's kind of like his attitude during that. It's like
be a Super Saiyan. He's much too much of a bleeding heart. I still have a chance at first place. So then Vegeta goes back to being smug. Vegeta has two modes, and they are smug and panicking, and he will switch between them on a dime in this arc.
He's a metronome, yeah. So I guess the fact that Vegeta knows.
Wait, what is that? Hang on.
I'm in this arc.
He's a
Tremble in fear, Frieza, my powers transcended all mortal limits, and impossible. How could anyone possibly be that strong?
metronome, yeah. So I guess the fact that Vegeta knows what's up with this, at least vaguely, even if it's implied to be a myth, means that there is some aspect of this Super Saiyan thing that is ingrained in Saiyan culture for the 5 of them that are left, I guess.
It's reminds me of years. Actually, I think years ago I had this like fan fiction idea that basically there's like during kind of like Saiyan and Sufurian war, Tuffle War, or whatever you call them, like it like the Super Saiyan thing initially started off as like a war propaganda thing. It was like something the Tuffles made up to kind of sort of show how ominous and scary and awful Saiyans are, because there's like if Saiyans had a legend, it would be some horrible shit. But then it basically gets co-opted by the Saiyans, who just think that's really cool and completely loses all of the political satire of it. That was my fanfic idea once, but it's a fanfic and it's probably not actually anything like Dragon Ball ever would do.
2.5, but yes, so basically this is indicated to have been like a legend or some kind of like historical event lost to the sands of time that was passed down through the Saiyans that Vegeta learned as a kid, and then his planet blew up, and he's just sort of kept it in the back of his mind as like a thing, like the ultimate potential of the Saiyan race. And of course, since he thinks of himself the same way, he probably hadn't really considered it until now, when suddenly he sees this person who, again, training versus talent, by all rights shouldn't be anywhere near as strong as he is, completely outpace him. And he thinks, well, this is ridiculous. Something's wrong. What's going on? But seeing that Goku is a big ol' softy bleeding heart, Vegeta's like, thank goodness. Okay, we're good. Things are back on track. So from this point forward, every single time Vegeta gets a power-up, he's like, that's right, Frieza. Now I've finally realized the legend and become the ultimate Saiyan warrior, the Super Saiyan, and nobody else knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Because nobody has explained this to any of the other characters. So, basically...
Oh my god,
is that... I can't remember what episode. That looks like episode to me.
Dumbass smirk.
That's the thing, man. Like a metronome. So basically, through the rest of the...
I love that. And then Vegeta becomes legendary Super Saiyan. Citation needed.
The little arc. For various reasons, Goku gets put out of commission. He'll be fine. They stick him in a pod for 40 minutes. He'll be okay. Everybody else is like, okay, we've got the balls. We've got a person who can help us summon the dragon. We've got Vegeta, but we're going to leave him over there while he naps so he doesn't interfere with our plans to bring our friends back. They get the balls together.
It's good, actually. Good plan.
Pops out, and they wish for... Well, they're going to wish for their friends to come back, and then it turns out the Namekian Dragon Balls don't let you bring back multiple people with one wish. And Piccolo's like, hey, if you bring me back, that brings back Kami, and that means our Dragon Balls work. And everyone's like, wow, what a great decision. And then he's like, now I also want you to transport me to Namek with the second wish so that I can fight Frieza hand to hand.
It's very
stupid.
Like,
that seems like a really good way.
Yes,
to
that's
make
very
this whole
stupid.
Trip completely pointless if you get killed again. But, whatever, I'm sure it'll be fine. But of course, this leads to Frieza showing up, and Frieza's extremely displeased that they've swiped 2 out of 3
Hey, Raphael. It's the... Oh, wait, hang on.
wishes, and then that the Elder Namekian just kind of casually dies in the background, so the balls stop working, and Frieza's extremely pissed.
It is a real... Like, okay. The send Piccolo to Namek part was fucking stupid, but the Grand Elder dying just as Frieza is just as Vegeta is threatening Dende to let him use the last wish on him. The Grand Elder conveniently dies. The Dragon Balls turn to stone. Vegeta's just like, what the hell's happening? If we can't do this, then wait. I actually can't remember. Now I can't remember what the actual dialogue is, but the abridged dialogue is like if the Dragon Balls don't work, that means I'm not immortal, and if I'm not immortal, that means Frieza's going to stares off, like looks to see something in the distance, has this panic looks on his face. You see it's Frieza. He's like, oh no, by any means, please do give me some ideas. Like that's like the pacing of that is good shit.
But that's okay. Vegeta's gotten all stronger and stuff, and he's confident that he has become the legendary Super Saiyan. And he clashes with Frieza, and they're actually evenly matched. And Frieza's like, nifty, time to switch into my second form. And Vegeta says, second what? And Frieza transforms and completely outclasses Vegeta, starting his second existential crisis of the day. So, Piccolo shows up, and he fights second form Frieza, and he's actually doing a pretty good job while Vegeta's having a crisis in the background. And then Vegeta remembers a fun little fact that every time a Saiyan nearly dies and comes back, they're stronger. They get like a power-up from nearly dying.
It's very
which is
silly.
Incredibly busted.
It's very
That's
silly.
why Vegeta gets his ass kicked all the time. See,
Well,
it's tactical.
yeah.
It's tactical.
Yeah, it's an RNG manipulation strat. Yeah, so
You have
this
to
is
reset Frieza's run cycle and then get him kicked to the floor.
yeah. You see, Vegeta's actually getting skew by getting kicked into this rock. Yeah, so this is used to retroactively explain why in Dragon Ball Goku would always get his ass kicked by the bad guy, train a little bit, come back, and then immediately wipe the floor with the bad guy. It's like, yeah, part of it's training, but part of it is that he's like precision designed to be really good at never losing the same fight twice.
Well, something
so,
like
Vegeta
that,
and Goku
yeah.
figured this out at this point, or at least Vegeta's figured out and hasn't shared with the class. So while Goku's off in the healing pod getting healed up, this is also priming him for yet another near-death power-up, which is cool. But in the
It's
meantime,
very
Vegeta's
stupid,
like, wait a
Vegeta.
minute, we've got
The abridged Frieza line like absolutely livid. I think that's oh, that's a good point. I think that's regular abridged, but I can't remember.
a guy here who can heal us, by the way. One of their... you know what? None of this really matters. They've got a guy there who can heal them, at least for
Yep.
now. And Vegeta's like, I know. I can totally speedrun this if I get the small one to blast a hole in my chest.
is so
and then the
stupid.
other small
It-
one to
it
heal
is the
me,
dumbest
I'll get
shit.
the power up, and that'll definitely push me over the edge into finally being the Super Saiyan. Which, again, reminder, nobody else knows what he's talking about because he hasn't shared this information with the class yet. This has just all been inner monologue. So he gets Krillin to blow a hole in his chest, and then they reluctantly...
It's like when 12-year-olds figure out that you can tense their abs, and then it's like, punch me in the stomach, bro, I can take it.
That's really it. That's so much of Vegeta's energy in this arc. So he gets a big hole blown in his chest, and then he gets healed up by Dende. And he comes back, and he's like, "That's right, Frieza. I've finally, this time for sure, become the legendary Super Saiyan." And Frieza's like, all right, bro. Let's see if you can back it up. And Vegeta powers up, and it's all dramatic and lightning, and everyone's like, "Wow, unbelievable! I can't believe how strong Vegeta's
Like,
gotten."
it's
So this
really-
time, I'm pretty sure
it's
he's
very
done it,
stupid.
guys. I
It's
think
very
he maybe become the
stupid.
legendary Super Saiyan. We still don't know. Maybe. He's the only one who seems to know. Frieza doesn't seem to think the Super Saiyan exists at all. Or if he does, he's not sharing. But what does happen is that even if Vegeta has become the legendary Super Saiyan,
Good news, Vegeta eventually shuts up about it because he's dead.
and either that's not a thing or it's not strong enough to really phase Frieza.
Also, because I was curious about because in Red's previous like Trope Talk videos, when she would put in Dragon Ball clips, it would often either I feel like she was just getting stuff from YouTube's or she was just like getting stuff from the Orange Bricks or the Blu-rays because it was cropped and stuff. And some of these pictures look like they're 4x3s, so maybe she actually got like either like the dragon the Dragon Box's rips of it or something. She's got good screenshots this time, and I'm like, thank God, you have good screenshots of the show, not this like oversaturated cropped crap.
In his final, ultimate, pinnacle form, etc., etc. So that's disappointing. And Vegeta unleashes a truly impressive, powerful set of attacks, and they don't do anything, and he gets very discouraged and starts actually crying. And in the manga, the narrator is kind of like, for the first time in his life, the Prince of All Saiyans sheds tears. Whereas in the anime, they have King Kai narrating in the world's most obnoxious voice.
That's why well, okay, good, because, okay, first of all, that's why you need to watch in Japanese, and second of all, of course, Kyle was narrating it because he's also Joji Yanami. Well, rest in peace now. I mean, but you know, the late Joji Yanami, he was playing both King Kai and the narrator. So it was like, you know, he was like practically doing King Kai in his like narrator voice. It was like a joke.
I like to believe that he's like, he left the psychic phone off the hook and Vegeta's hearing him be like, those eyes don't lie, the tears are real. Vegeta's really emotionally broken.
Those are good screenshots, right? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I know where she got these. She was watching Kai. That's why she was getting the screen caps from Kai, and Kai is 4x3. I think people don't like some of it because the some of the redrawn screenshots aren't redrawn scenes where they basically couldn't remaster it because the original thing was just like so dirty or whatever that they basically had to redraw the whole scene, and those don't look good, but everything else is okay. But now I'm thinking about it, of course it is, because she talks about Kai all the time, so she watches Kai, so that's why. And that's also probably why she's still watching Kai it with the dub, which is not too bad, but obviously you still have Sean Channel doing the King Kai voice.
Happening. But anyway, fortunately, after Vegeta gets kicked around like a football for a while and what's totally an RNG manipulation strat, Goku shows up, yay, and he's all powerful and stuff because of his latest near-death experience. And Vegeta's like, that's right, good. Frieza, that guy's finally realized the legend, and Frieza gets sick of him and kills him. Oh no, what a shame. And because nobody else knows what the hell a Super Saiyan is, and Frieza's not about to say, you finally become my hated enemy destined to destroy me, nobody else knows
what's the specific Blu-ray collection that probably remasters DBZ Drago? I've completely forgotten. There's like, okay, because there's like the Japanese versions are only Japanese. I'm pretty sure in the Japanese they don't have any Blu-ray remasters. It's only the Funimation's been doing it, and they have two versions. They have like the season sets, which are kind of like the Orange Bricks, but maybe slightly better quality, But then they also have those 30th anniversary ones, which nobody asked for, nobody wanted. It still has a lot of the same issues as the season sets. It's just they're 4x3 now, and they're like, now that solves all the problems. They're like, no, it doesn't solve any of the problems. We didn't even want this. We've still got the DVD, whatever. Anyway, I think those still didn't get sold, and then they started getting selling them as like special limited release ones. And anyway, there's a lot of them. It's a clusterfuck.
What's going on, and for the next like 6 episodes nobody brings it up. So yeah,
so as far as the audience is concerned, it's just Vegeta being weird about it,
yeah,
and then dying.
Well, as far as the audience is concerned, there might be some truth to it because Frieza and the Elder Namekian both were like, Super Saiyan, interesting. So there's something there, but Vegeta's the only person who's been consistently talking about it, and every single time he brings it up, someone from Earth will say, what's a Super Saiyan? And he never tells them. So the Earthlings have no clue what he's talking about. Goku has
I think the Metal Tins are the 30th anniversary ones, yeah.
He's fulfilled, which is funny because like, so Vegeta's like, haha, he's finally here, he's really strong, and you know, he's like gotten his ass kicked, so he's not in great shape, and he's like, yeah, Frieza, you better watch out, the Super Saiyans come to kick your ass. And then Goku's like, Frieza, I'm gonna give you one chance to reform and get out of here before I have to fight you. And Vegeta's like, no,
does he
what's
say
wrong
that?
with you? You'll never.
I don't think he says that. I'm pretty sure he doesn't say that at all. I'm pretty sure the whole thing is because he's no, because I'm pretty sure the reason why Goku is like having an attitude is because he basically berates Frieza for finishing off Vegeta. It's like, why would you do that? He couldn't even move. Like, what a sick bastard move you just did there. And then that's why Vegeta's just like God, Goku, God, Kakarot, if you're gonna be like this, there's no fucking way you'll be a Super Saiyan. Stop being so soft.
Never be a Super Saiyan. And Goku's like, a super what? And then Vegeta dies. So like, shame. So yeah, Goku has no fucking clue what's going on. Par for the course. But the audience is starting to get an inkling that this Super Saiyan thing is probably important, or it's a total red herring.
I don't think they'd make a red herring. That's not a Toriyama thing.
You'd think you'd have gotten it at least once this time. So, you know, if it's real, maybe Vegeta did it and it just wasn't strong enough and they're going to need to do something.
Exactly. Vegeta's pissed because Goku's empathetic towards
him.
It's the
perfect blend of Chekhov's gun and red herring.
Yes, it's perfect. It's like, it's planted so much and
it's
so
Chekhov's
regularly.
seafood dinner.
That's a...
Well, what was I gonna say? Like, I it's really hard to I get the feeling that when you're, I don't know, like, when you hear this, you get the feeling that when you were reading Namek week by week, maybe it was kind of frustrating because it kept feeling really repetitive, and you're just kind of like, you didn't know if this was leading up to anything or if it was just all going to be a total fucking waste of your time. So consistently.
A good one.
Hold on, let me write that down.
Yeah, so it's planted so much and so regularly that it sort of makes the audience think, is this even a thing? Like, they're saying it so much, it's gotta be a thing, right? But Vegeta keeps not getting it, so what could it be? And then there's a really long fight. It used to be way
Here we
longer
go. There's a really long fight. It used to be way longer before the Kai edit. It's still kind of way too long. At this point, the fight for Frieza is already stretched out over 6 episodes, aka 2 hours. Over the course of the next 5 episodes, a real hour and a half, Goku and Frieza fight. Details aren't important because the fight follows a very specific repetitive rhythm. Goku marvels at how powerful Frieza is and highlights that Frieza's clearly not even trying and definitely isn't using all his power. Goku thinks of a clever strategy and manages to narrow the gap just a little, scuffing Frieza ever so slightly with a technique or tactics. Difficult, dangerous, draining, or all three at once. Frieza expressing surprise that Goku managed to do that again, even that tiny amount of damage, and powers up more, widening the gap again while Goku's getting increasingly exhausting. Piccolo, Gohan, and Krillin watch from the sidelines and comment about how much this sucks and how ridiculously powerful Frieza is. Don't worry, there's another 5 episodes of fight after this. Like, now I can't remember. I can't remember if I thought it in the manga, it dragged in the manga as well or not. I actually can't remember. But the anime very specifically drags this more to a crawl, more of a crawl than it even should have been, so... Because they were getting too close to the manga at this point.
They cut it down for Kai. It is still 16 episodes total. That's too many episodes.
That's the whole, like, this planet's only got, like, 5 minutes left thing.
Oh, don't worry, we'll get there. That happens about 2/3 of the way through the fight.
Okay, cool. Great. Love it.
Yeah, so basically,
isn't the Master Bar fake out? Yeah, that's true, but Piccolo, that wasn't nearly as long as this.
Time while Goku's been healing up. It's been 2 real-world hours. It's been a while. So, Goku's shown up. Everyone else is basically on the bench for this one. Goku and Frieza fight for a while. The details don't matter because this fight follows
Oh, okay, now he's just reading it out loud.
And that rhythm is Goku will be very impressed by how strong Frieza is. Goku will come up with a clever tactic of some kind, using a technique or a strategy or something he's never tried before that will manage to sort of get the drop on Frieza and scuff him a little bit. And Frieza will be increasingly annoyed that this is even possible. You know, similar to Vegeta, he doesn't think it should be at all possible for a low-class Saiyan trash warrior like Goku to be able to actually hurt him at all. But it doesn't do any appreciable damage. Frieza still gets pissed about it, though. And then Goku will be like, oh man, that last one really wiped me out. I gotta finish this quick. And then he won't. And then meanwhile on the sidelines, Piccolo and Gohan and Krillin will be like, wow, unbelievable. Frieza's so strong. This is ridiculous and kind of annoying writing-wise. It's like, yep, you got it, bros.
And then rinse repeat 16 times.
Yeah, basically. It's not badly choreographed. A lot of it is quite interesting to watch. It's just, oh man, 5 episodes is too many episodes for anything. Fortunately, after an hour and a half of fighting, Goku manages to fully power up his ultimate technique, the Spirit Bomb, and
Genki
they
Dama.
manage to hit Frieza with it, which takes about 10 real-world minutes. But they eventually get it on him, and he has a big little like, no, this cannot be, how Lord Frieza dies, kind of, you know, oh, maybe they actually got him for this time.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, wow, thank goodness, man, that was a toughie, we really did it, let's all get on the spaceship and go home and like, get dinner and hang out with puppies or something, and everything's cool and totally
Go grab
fine.
that fish dinner.
Yeah, like, is it worth bringing up that before he fights Vegeta, Goku tells Gohan, hey son, we'll go fishing together when this is all over.
Oh my god, it is Chekhov's seafood dinner.
Yeah, the real prophecy. So everything's great and totally
Yeah,
fine.
that's
and
in
just
the
kidding,
Japanese.
Obviously that's not true. They do let us believe that it's true for 8 real minutes. But obviously Frieza's not
God,
dead.
I thought you were gonna say episodes.
Frieza, they're just hanging around this puddle. The 87th thing we'll do when I get back is a board game night.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, interesting. I think Blossom was saying it beforehand. Yeah, I haven't really watched Totally Mark's videos. I don't really like just the way some of his arguments and some of the the kind of his kind of like, you know, thesis statements make me get the feeling I don't think I'm gonna like them. I think I watched one of his videos once and I was just like, he's like one of those people who's like, I read a book about writing, and according to a book about writing, you are not supposed to do this. And I'm just like, that's a very narrow-minded way of looking at things.
Yeah, Dad, that sounds great. No, so Frieza pops out and he's really pissed and he's done messing around. He mortally wounds Piccolo, very nearly making it so this whole trip was pointless. And then he explodes Krillin. And it's very sad. This makes Goku very upset. And then this happens, and it's like, oh shit, now I remember what Vegeta was yelling about 2 hours ago. Now, this is an excellent bit of payoff, because none of the participants involved except Frieza really have any way of knowing what this is exactly. I mean, Vegeta's been yelling about something, and they can put it together. But right now, Goku just got really mad and his hair changed color. That's weird, and we've never seen it before, but like, the characters don't necessarily know what this is, but the audience knows exactly what this is.
Yeah.
Cosmonaut Variety Hour did a video about this arc where he brought up
Really?
that like this is a Super Saiyan because what the fuck else could it be? And it's like that's
Yeah.
really it at this point. Like Goku has transformed. What else could this be? So okay, Goku's become the legendary Super Saiyan. We're like, okay, that's a Super Saiyan. Cool. So the transformation moment is a catalyst in this arc. Obviously, at this point, Goku has become a Super Saiyan. But now we get to find out exactly what that means. So the very important thing about this is that if this were just Goku but stronger, it would be just like every other power-up in this arc. And there have been a lot of power-ups in this arc. So it can't just be Goku.
Yeah,
but-
it was probably one of Mark's like bragging on super videos because that generally tends to be for those people, you know, the people where they rag on super, like, yeah, super is bad because it breaks this writing convention that I read in a book somewhere, and I'm just like, you guys, like, get better criticisms. I'm sorry, get better criticism. That's a stupid criticism, and it's the same if you use that for Dragon Ball as well. Like, God's sake, guys. Stories are not fucking rule books. Like, you can do whatever you want as long as it's satisfying. As long as you can explain why it is satisfying.
But he's better at hitting stuff and he's faster and he has more powerful energy attacks. Now, we've already seen that. It hasn't worked against Frieza. If this were the one that tipped it over the edge, it wouldn't be special. But the show
I have no
and
idea what
manga
that is,
both go out
Raphael.
of their way to make it very clear that Super Saiyan Goku and regular Goku have very little in common with each other. And there are three key things that shift. The first of them is the mood shift, which is that in previous fights, Goku has always been a goofball, you know? He's been, like, fighting seriously a lot of the time, but there's usually a quip, you know, even when he's, like, really badly hurt, he'll usually, like, smile or be like, man,
Have
I
you
can't
watched
wait to
Plague
fight
of Gripes
this guy
video?
again."
Is this Plague of Gripes? I think it was the same thing. It was like I don't like Dragon Ball Super because it breaks writing conventions, and I was like, yeah, get better criticisms. I'm sorry, like, if you follow that train of logic, yeah, sure, it's a criticism. Like, I just think those are stupid criticisms. Like, actually talk about it. Especially because I think also, you know, it ignores the context of what Super actually is, which is a random rushed sequel thing they decided to put in because they wanted to do more Dragon Ball. Like, it's people like acting like Super just was created from the ether with no issues and is supposed to be like this standalone thing, and it's, I don't know. Anyway, let's keep going.
Goku is on some level always having fun when he fights people, even when they're kicking his ass.
Oh,
or
yeah,
he's in danger, or he's really worried about his loved ones. There's some part
Wait,
of
the
him
many
that's
faces of
always been
Gohan.
having.
Wait, Plague of Gripes did a Gohan video, or Ozymandias did a Gohan video? Right? Because okay, so that's the thing. Because Gohan, you know, Mark did a Gohan video because like I was talking to like Aaron about it because I was like, did you watch it? Because I'm like I think, you know, the Gohan stuff. Of course, you know, the way I like Plague of Gripes did a Gohan video. Okay. Alright, I'll ask Erin if she watched it, because Erin tends to have more patience than I do when it comes to watching people have takes about Gohan and seeing if they're good or not, so I'm gonna ask Erin. But, you know, basically my too long didn't read version is like, Gohan's fine. Gohan's role is a consequence of how the story ended up being, but like, it doesn't make him a bad character because Toriyama was thinking for a bit he might be the lead and then sort of saying maybe he's not the lead. Like, he's fine. Like, Gohan is not a bad character because the staff in Dragon Ball Super were never sure if he was going to appear in the next arc or not. That doesn't make him a bad character. Like, come on, you guys. Like, why are you taking this so literally?
Having a good time fighting. And this has been specified in this arc as a result of his Saiyan heritage, that Saiyans like fighting. So even though Goku's like fighting for a reason, on some level, the joy of the fight itself is what motivates him. That's out the window. Goku does not seem to be having a good time after he transforms. He's really weirdly stoic and calm, and we've never seen Goku like that in a fight before because Goku's the perpetual underdog. And that ties into the second point, the tone shift, which is how the complete tone of the fight changes after he transforms. It's no longer Frieza's like all the way up here and Goku's very slowly trying to gain ground, and the minute it looks like he's narrowed the gap even a little, Frieza just zooms away. It's reversed, really. and it's not immediately obvious, but there's this like unspoken rule in fictional fights that whoever's less worried is going to win, or at least is going to win the specific exchange. So like if one person doesn't seem concerned about what the other person is doing, what the other person is doing is not going to affect them. You know, it's for drama purposes. It gives the audience information the characters don't have, which is, uh-oh, that guy seems real confident. I don't think that's going to do anything to him. So after Goku transforms, Frieza is the one who seems tense and on edge and is constantly yelling and snarling and shaking with determination, and Goku's just standing there. For the first bit of the fight, Goku's not even attacking. He's just dodging and glaring. He doesn't even say anything. And the third important part is that we lose all access to Goku's inner monologue after this. I think we hear 2 of his innermost thoughts, and they are just, what's taking everyone else so long getting off this friggin' exploding planet? Which is pretty funny. But before that, in all other fights, we have a constant look at Goku's inner monologue.
Very. It's not always. It's not always.
Because he's the protagonist.
I will say, I don't really agree with that. I think, like, there are some, like, maybe, like, Piccolo sometimes, and like something like, say, him with like Ten Shinhan, for example. But basically, there's a lot of them where, like, the final fight, Goku is in control, pretty much. You lose access to his inner monologue. Pretty much, the moment Goku is, like, knows that he can win this, you don't get his inner monologue, because you kind of don't need to. And then, because at that point, you're kind of from the point of view of the audience that is being shocked and surprised and, like, hyped up by how amazing Goku is. At that point, you don't need to see how Goku is doing this. You just watch. It makes it more shocking and more amazing when you actually see it happen.
You know, he's the POV character during the fights. And it also tells us, like, what the stakes are of what he's gonna do. If he's gonna do a dangerous technique that might wipe him out, he's gonna have to think it to the audience. Like, oh, I'll try the Kaioken times 10, but it might be more than my body can handle, and if that takes me out of the fight, that's gonna be really bad. So that when that happens, we're like, oh no, the Kaioken times 10! You know, it's important to tell the audience what he's doing. That goes out the window because it's no longer important, because there's no longer any chance that he's going to lose. The whole story has shifted around this one pivoting point. And this is cool, because we don't actually know if that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's good that he's gonna beat Frieza, but, like, he's really not all that recognizable as Goku anymore, and especially if we've been watching through Dragon Ball or reading the manga, we've had a lot of time to get invested in Goku as a character, and the fact that he transformed into this person, and suddenly he's almost completely different.
His hair's not even colored in anymore, you know, that's the iconic thing.
Is this good, or is this basically a superpowered evil side that he just unlocked? And we have a lot of reason to be worried about this, because Vegeta's the one who's kept talking about it, and Vegeta's not the nicest guy.
Oh no, he's gonna act like Vegeta now. He's so insufferable.
Honestly, there are some similarities. Like, on some level, he's clearly still Goku. He's clearly concerned about Gohan and everyone else. And ultimately, he's entirely motivated because Krillin just died, and Krillin's his best friend. And Krillin has already been brought back by the Dragon Balls once, and as far as anyone knows, that means they can't bring him back again. So Goku just saw his best friend perma-die because he couldn't take this guy out fast enough, and that sudden burst of just pure rage is what kicked him over the edge, and now he's not really acting like Goku anymore, and part of that is he's sort of got the set of emotional responses you expect from bad guys, where he's mostly switching between being very, like, stoic and furious to being kind of smug, which is not a mood we associate with Goku. Basically, every time...
And once again, I think also, you know, the manga, the anime probably, you know, since it's dragged out so much, you know, it might maybe spend a bit too much time hammering in some points around Goku compared to others and making Super Saiyan look a little bit different than the manga, where it's just, you know, you don't really spend as much time, like, watching his emotional state and very minor ways he reacts to everything, so it might change the perception a little bit.
Frieza underestimates him, or Frieza says some bluster that Goku knows he can't back up, Goku will smirk, which is not the happy expression he normally wears. So, like, all of the stuff we're seeing has...
Oh, yeah, also now reminding also the fact that, like, you know, he gets the evil guy face. You know, Goku never has that. And I guess, I don't know if Fred would notice and realize that part, but yeah, it is the, you know, his facial features and now the bad guy face. Toriyama, the facial features Toriyama used for bad guy face. That's why it's so jarring.
of remembering that Vegeta was talking about how the Super Saiyan is this bloodthirsty monster and like this merciless scourge of the galaxy and completely unlike Goku's soft-hearted nature in every way. And we're like, fuck, was Vegeta right? That would be a real bummer. This show will still drag it out for another 5 episodes, but like, come on. Everything they're doing is telegraphing that Frieza cannot beat Goku at this point. But is he gonna still beat Goku when it's over? That becomes the new stakes that they've established. Then they fight for another 5 episodes. It's, it's fine. Yes, this is the infamous 5 minutes part. After Frieza figures out that Goku's just way stronger than he thought and is sort of toying with him, he gets mad and tries to blow up the planet. And instead of blowing it up all in one go, because that wouldn't be dramatic, he blows it up a little bit so that it'll really blow up in 5 minutes. And then they fight for 5 episodes. So,
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. Everything's cool. In terms of how this works as payoff for the established prophecy, all those things we brought up before, the vagueness, the uncertainty, they all completely serve this, because it's like they managed to pull off the, I don't know what it is, but you'll know it when you see it kind of thing. It's like, what is a Super Saiyan? Powerful warrior, scourge of the galaxy, ultimate form of the Saiyan race, blah, blah, blah. Well, is Vegeta a Super Saiyan? I mean, maybe. He seems pretty confident. And then we see this, and it's like, oh, how could I have ever thought that Vegeta was a Super Saiyan when that is so clearly what a Super Saiyan is?
Yeah,
so that's good, because...
of course Vegeta's not a Super Saiyan, because his hair didn't turn blonde, obviously.
Vegeta had gone Super Saiyan just by speedrun hacking, it would have been kind of a disappointing payoff. But the fact is, this sort of makes it mean something. And Goku actually somehow puts this together and explains to Frieza that as a Super Saiyan, he is a pure heart awakened by fury, which Frieza thinks is actually quite funny, because he's like, wow, no wonder Vegeta never pulled it off. It's like,
That's
God.
hilarious.
It's so funny.
It's also just like, in terms of like characterization, it is definitely kind of on brand that the scariest thing you can possibly see is the person who is usually extraordinarily calm or cheerful become silent with fury.
Yeah, it's a great moment, and it's awesome because at this point,
And that is basically Gohan's entire, young Gohan's entire character story. Obviously, we have not had an adult Gohan rage Bruce, and I'm terrified if they try to pull that in the new movie. I am terrified of how it'll work, because it's. We'll see. We've got a few months to figure that out.
the audience is also really mad at Frieza, in part because of how long this fight has taken. Like, Kai is actually really good at tightening up the pacing, so the first time I watched it, I was confused that the Frieza fight felt so dragged out by comparison. And when Goku turned Super Saiyan, I was like, there's the payoff. They made us wait 11 episodes for this so that we would be just as sick of Frieza as everybody else. And then they take 5 episodes just kind of letting Goku kick him around like a football, and every time Frieza thinks he's managed to put a scratch on him, Goku's like, guess I should stop messing around. He's literally doing what Frieza was doing earlier, and it's kind of delightful. But there is also this undercurrent that this might not be good, actually. Like, Gohan's pretty stoked that his dad is a Super Saiyan and will be able to beat Frieza, but like, even the narrator calls it an unsettling transformation, and a lot of people are like, is he okay? I mentioned it on an earlier slide.
Goku, is this you? Are you sure I think he kind of lost it.
The first thing that Goku does after he transforms is he yells at Gohan to basically get out of there while he still has control over himself, which is like, that's never a good sign, just in general. And we don't really see Goku ever seem like he's out of control in this mode, but the fact that he's just not the guy we recognize is unsettling enough, honestly, because like, we've had a long time to get to know Goku. Even just in the run of Z, we've had a lot of time to see him and how he works and how silly he is. So this is weird and very effective. Now, the good news is that we do find out after about 5 episodes that Goku is still functionally Goku, because after he kicks Frieza around like a football for a while, it becomes pretty clear that Frieza's not going to win. And as soon as that becomes obvious, Goku stops. And he's like, all right, well, I've made my point. And he gives him a chance. But basically, he's like, all right, look, you didn't think that there was anyone in the universe who could possibly bring you down, and that's why you were such a colossal dick. So now that I've completely shattered your pride by defeating you at 100% and gotten you to the point where you're losing energy, your power level's dropping, you're basically screwed, and you know it. You know I can defeat you. So that's good enough for me. So I'm just going to go before this planet explodes in 4 minutes.
Okay, like when I heard her say that, I'm like, this sounds like a really long dub speech that, like, you know, early dub Goku would say But I know, like, some of that is in the manga, and he's basically just like, yeah, but it's got that sense of, like, sinister, like, it's kind of sinister to it, where he's just like, oh, yeah, that's good enough for me. Oh, I know I have completely obliterated your body and soul and pride. That's good enough for me. So I'm fucking out of here. And you're like, oh, shit, that's cold-blooded. Even if it's not killing him, even if he's not killing him off, that's cold-blooded.
Yeah.
So he powers down. He turns back into regular Goku, which is interesting because it also almost indicates that the ultimate transformation is not the appearance on the outside, but something internal. That, like, now that he can go Super Saiyan, he's sort of awakened this part of himself that's still there even when he's not glowy and gold and stuff, which is just an interesting.
That sounds
bit of
very
visual storytelling
cool.
I thought was cool. They didn't need to make him power down in this bit, but
I remember in my the way I sort of saw it is that, like, yeah, it's that at that point where he's basically just like, yeah, I'm, it's symbolizing at this point, I'm no longer the Super Saiyan. I'm just Goku, and I'm just getting the hell out of here.
it's more effective. Obviously, Frieza does not take this very well and goes to backstab him, which Goku's pretty pissed about, so he just transforms back into a Super Saiyan, and I don't think he even kicks his ass. I think he just flies around avoiding Frieza's death beams for a while, and then Frieza accidentally cuts himself in half because, I mean, at this point, like, the fight had to resolve somehow.
Yeah.
And Frieza's all chopped up and dying, and Goku's like, well, sucks to be you. I'm gonna go now. And Frieza begs him for help. And what's interesting is that this is specifically tying into the thing Vegeta was yelling about earlier in the arc, which is that Goku has a soft-hearted, merciful nature. And Vegeta was like, and that's why you'll never be able to be a Super Saiyan, because the Super Saiyan cannot show mercy. And it's cool that he's completely wrong about that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, okay, the Super Saiyan is Goku and Goku is the Super Saiyan. Goku is a merciful person, which means underneath all the rage and fury, he's still gonna give people second and third chances. But he clearly doesn't like it. He's like quivering with rage about this. Like, you know, how many people begged you for mercy? How can you beg me for mercy?
Which, yeah, that's
but,
in the
you know,
manga.
Frieza's chopped in half and dying on an exploding planet, and Goku's like, fine, okay, fine, and he gives him some energy. And of course, Frieza gets up and starts talking shit again, and is like, heh, I'll survive in the vacuum of space, but you'll explode. And Goku's like, nah, I'll be fine. I got a feeling about it. And then he goes to fly off, and you'll never guess what happens next. Frieza, you know, he's the worst, obviously. He's not going to change in the last 2 minutes, and getting shown mercy
I think
by
this might be
somebody
my
who
favorite detail. I haven't watched her other ones. I think I actually I can't remember what. I think, you know, they're just things aren't that interesting to me. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I see it in the things. She's got a Christmas thing, and which I don't care about, and Castlevania, the show, Netflix series, which I haven't watched yet. So it's like, okay, fair enough. I haven't watched these ones. Dragon Ball, I've watched that, and I watched it to the point that if you get a big thematic point about it and see it in a completely different way, I'm like, oh no, I don't think that's accurate. So.
kill him easily twice isn't exactly enough to drive the point home. We need to rule of three this. So he uses that energy Goku gave him to try and explode him, and Goku yells, "You fool," very dramatically, and fires back a blast that completely explodes him.
Nice.
I mean, so Frieza's dead. In the manga and some of the game.
Oh,
adaptations,
yay!
they managed to
Yay! Okay, great. She knows about the face. Good. She knows about the face.
Goku's facial expression. They don't quite get it right in the anime. He looks more angry, but in the manga it's very clear that he is full of immediate regret about having done that. That he literally couldn't pull the punch enough to not explode this, like, half-dead Frieza, and he wishes he hadn't done it. And, like, he's kind of, like, shaken and freaked out, but, you know, it's like, okay, well, it happened, okay, and then he goes to try and escape the exploding planet. After that, it doesn't really matter, you know, other stuff happens. He makes it back to Earth eventually, but they do fake him out. You can't really do a fake-out death in Dragon Ball, because it's like, oh no, not when we have a second set of Dragon Balls that can wish Goku back, whatever. So the reveal ends up being, oh, Goku didn't explode, he's fine, but he doesn't want me to wish him back to Earth. He's out in space training. He'll be back on his own time. And it's like, well, alright, see you later, I guess. Anyway, so that's basically where the Super Saiyan planting and payoff really resolves, because unfortunately after this arc, Super Saiyan kind of gets downgraded to the power
next big thing,
It's
yeah.
just
The next big
the
thing.
next stage of being
Yeah.
a real strong badass that everyone, it's like the prerequisite for being an actual threat, rather than, you know, this incredibly well-planted and built-up alien prophecy about ultimate power and what the most dangerous warrior in the universe would look like. So that's basically the whole gist of what I had
How does
to
this
cover.
go on
The
for another,
planting is
like,
really
15
solid.
minutes?
There's enough, like, well, what the hell's a Super Saiyan? No explanation, but just enough detail to sort of keep it in our heads. There's just enough time after that to make us almost forget that Super Saiyan was a thing on the table before it happens, and suddenly we're like, oh, Super Saiyan! Right. And then after that, it doesn't immediately resolve everything, which is another problem in prophecy narratives. A lot of times, once the prophecy comes true, that's just it for the plot. After that, it's just cleanup. And in this case...
I mean, the thing is, like, this is Akira Toriyama we're talking about. He does not do, like, he is not a classical Greek poet. He is Akira Toriyama. He does not have a prophecy. He does not have things be cleaned up nice and neatly. I mean, even when he has his own Deus Ex Machinas, they are not, like, there's no moral value about it. It's basically just you guys are all fucking stupids, and I hate all of you.
While there is cleanup, they add the additional stake of, is Goku okay? Is he still gonna be Goku when this is over? And when they finally show us that, yeah, don't worry, he's okay. It's 5 episodes later, and we've had plenty of time to stew in that. So,
yeah.
It's really solid emotional payoff for something that they've sort of just been sprinkling over the rest of the arc to sort of remind us of, like, hey, by the way, there's, like, greater forces at work here, and that's pretty neat. So that's my piece. What are your...
What is it? Does you want to hear me rant on how much of a bummer is Super Saiyan loses literally all of its mystique the very next arc when everyone is 6-year-old can pull it off and it's just not a power? Like, whatever! It's like, yes, on one hand, yes. On the other hand, this is a fucking battle shonen manga. Like, this is a Yukondo train. Like, you have to make the next hotness show up immediately. Like, otherwise the audience is going to get... The audience of 12-year-old boys is going to be like, oh, boy, you're making an arc take it slow and not increasing the stakes? How could you do that? That's boring. We've seen that before. It's just how it is. Like, it's... Yeah, like... Everyone can see it's something that you're like, it's kind of makes things disappointing, but it's something they had to do.
Thoughts?
It's the format,
Shall we say?
I think this is really cool and also kind of a tragedy because it is such a beautiful little piece of, like, subtle storytelling leading to something much bigger at the end that the whole arc turns on. Yes, I agree, and we're two... Cleo, can you stop scratching the chair, please? Thank you. And then it's like, okay, guys, come on. But
yeah.
It's fascinating that it works so well. Run into the dust later on, really, the Saiyan arc and the sense of anticipation. I just need to, skip ahead, wait for it. But by pushing, it's not just a win button, and it's not up to that point, the audience immediately knows what it is.
Of the manga, the more impactful it is, because that planted theme of training versus talent is so central to Goku's arc, and this is almost the pinnacle of that this person who, we're informed in the Saiyan saga, like, started off as, like, this weak scrub lord trash Saiyan, only start forward as ultimate warrior of legend. The Super Saiyan had universe, the it essentially hero of legend, the protector. Oh, he's literally the strongest warrior in the universe, the ultimate warrior of legend, the protector of the
not
weak,
really
bringer of justice.
Not really the protector of weak and bringer of justice in the good way. Yeah.
It's like if Superman had to work to be as strong as he got.
Well, like I said, Super Saiyan is not Superman. It's if it is, it's like a 90s comic book writer's idea of what Superman was or should be. And then, but then it's actually a big reverse fake out of what the Super Saiyan is a reverse fake out of what 90s comic book writers thought Superman should be. There you go, put that in a quote.
And that was the whole point of his arc. It essentially makes this whole arc the ultimate culmination of everything that Goku is and has done, is that he managed to get to the point where he could defeat this being that nobody there. And that's why it's such a bummer that they just kind of kept going after that, because of course by the time the Cell Saga rolls around, there's one cool thing we can do it, basically. Everyone just tried so much lesser done. I mean, I was like, wow, I had this concept for a detailed diatribe on the back. Remember how much it impactful? And
I think that the moment of transform, because we're doing the same thing, doesn't make it happen, but it's that moment. I don't even know what it's about. He ended up ruining himself. Lapped goes that
Like, it's like I wish I should, it's that. Gabby, you gotta tweet that? Okay. Maybe I will actually. Or maybe I'll just, like, make a clip of that and make that the highlight. Yeah, no shonen understands the concept of a palate cleanser. It's all fight, fight, fight with them. But like, that's the thing. It's like, when it comes to Dragon Ball criticism and internet people who do not constantly engross themselves in the world of Shonen Jump, complaining about things about Shonen Jump, and it's like yeah, maybe it'd be cool. It's like the same people who basically say, oh, Hunter x Hunter is the best shonen, and all the other ones are trash because they use these tropes, and Hunter x Hunter doesn't use these tropes. And it's like, guys, I think you just need to calm down a bit. Like, it's just, I think people get way too fixated on this idea that's like, oh, this is what's wrong with everything. Acting like, the story should just stop. The story shouldn't continue because it makes everything worse. And there's like you can still have good stuff about it. At the very least, I could do a detailed diatribe of this exact format all about Gohan versus Cell, and I could talk about that because, like, with all the times I've talked about all of these last 5-6 years, I could totally do that in the exact same way of talking about the context and the build up and the payoff and everything like that and how it's great. And then I could say, oh, but it's a shame because after that Gohan doesn't remain the main character in the Buu arc, and it's like you could keep saying that, but it's first of all, as a Dragon Ball fan, I've heard the criticism too much, and it's just not even. It's also something where it's like, it's a criticism that's so obvious that it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure the authors are aware that if you make Super Saiyan not as cool anymore, it makes things cheap. But at the same time, it's better than the alternative, which is either having your manga cancelled, finished early, which is not going to happen because, Shonen Jump does not, like I said, the problem is not Dragon Ball. The problem is Shonen Jump. The problem is Shueisha. They're the guys that make this the problem. It's not Akira Toriyama's fault, really. It's partially his fault, but it's not fully his fault. If it's anyone's fault, it's Yu Kondo and fuck. Wait, was it Yu Kondo? Who was the one? I think it's Yu Kondo. Because there was somebody else. There was someone else for the Buu arc. That was the thing. Like, Yu Kondo was like Frieza and and Cell, basically, I think, or like somewhere in that kind of period. And it was Torishima up until around there, and then it was Yu Kondo, and then there was another guy, a third guy for the Buu arc, and that one takes power-ups differently because it makes them cheap, but it also makes that a joke. So, it's complicated.
Furious, just completely flips the switch to doing that.
Yeah, if anything, like,
I was just gonna say that is some nice art of Frieza right there. It was probably a Studio Juno production. Look at that, right?
Evoke Goku into
of your stock make mercy, but he was going down. He never would have run into Goku, and it.
Of how the prophecy works, because this and this. If the show or the manga ever, it's cool to think of the possibility, and I don't know if the show or the manga ever negates this by world building and showing what happens. That someone in the distant past had become a Super Saiyan, and then there were legends about this person and this warrior and what they were like that over time got kind of muddled into something legendary Super Saiyan. I don't know. It's cool.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say yeah. She's seen that.
Canon movie where that happens, and it's Goku's dad time traveling. But most people don't really treat that one like it really happened.
Yeah.
I'm electing to ignore that.
Thank you.
I will say one thing that's interesting about this.
Yes, exactly. It's like, that was there's that one where it was Goku's dad who went back in time, and was that like no. Even people with casual knowledge of Dragon Ball, like, no, that sounds fucking stupid.
Is that it plants a couple things that are actually really effective that they do later, and one of those is the fact that Krillin dying is what awakens Goku to this, because of course, this is Goku's oldest friend, really. I mean, aside from Bulma, and the person he spent the most time.
You're saying when Toriyama introduced Mr. Satan, I think Kondo bailed because the new editor was more lenient to Toriyama and company. I don't know the details. I need to ask somebody. Other guys have been researching this in way more detail than I have.
I'm with, and now he's dead, and permanently dead. And while Goku is mostly very stoic as the Super Saiyan, whenever Krillin's death is brought up, he snaps into like Hulk rage mode. And there's a little bit that I didn't really touch on in this episode, because it's not really necessary. But Goku lets Frieza power up to 100% and doesn't take any of his chances to stop it.
I will have to say, I'm glad that she took the like really old YouTube clip version of that. So obviously she knows the meme.
and King Kai is just like screaming in the back of his head like, what are you doing? Take him out now! And you think, oh, this is just Goku, you know, he's always like this. But Goku's doing this because of Krillin. And he's like, he was a great guy, he was
Okay, see, like, this video looks like it's Orange Brick stuff. Like, this looks like it's stuff that she grabbed from YouTube. Like, I think, so maybe the video, like, for most of her video examples, she just grabs a first clip she finds from YouTube. But then, like, for the pictures for her detailed diatribe, I think she was just, like, screen capping watching Kai.
sweet, he was kind, he didn't deserve this, and I'm going to completely take Frieza apart to avenge him. And it's like, it won't count if I don't defeat him when he thinks he's at his strongest.
It's very stupid.
That's surprisingly, like, it's vengeful and sadistic in a way that Goku has never been before, but we totally get it. We understand why he's reached this breaking point, because Krillin, as far as he knows, is never coming back.
Yeah.
Long time no see,
keeping
Gim.
with
Yeah,
Goku's
how's those
actions
things?
where
Yeah,
he
the
would
usual.
always want to fight someone at their strongest.
Yeah, I'm
but
just,
the motivation...
I enjoyed this a lot more. Like, I was scared that Red was somehow going to, like, completely misinterpret the Frieza arc, but, like, nah, like, she's not stupid. And the Frieza arc this Frieza arc text is very plainly there. It's not too hidden. It's like, okay, fair enough.
is what changes. So it's still the same character of like, oh, I want to fight this person when they're at their strongest, but instead of because that would be cool, it's because then they'll really feel it when I break them.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good exploration of the subtle ways in which the Super Saiyan shift.
Goku in there, I totally get it, because like it becomes a lot more willing. Cool. It bums me out that it got really good writing since then. Part of that is just sort of, and man, it bums me out that it got so overused. And they have managed to sort of tap into this little nugget of really good writing since then. Part of that is when they explain how Trunks became a Super Saiyan for the first time in the future Trunks timeline. He becomes helplessness. And they do this in one of the recent movies, actually.
No, it's not good.
Broly
Broly is not a good movie.
Very powerful Saiyan, really mad. Legendary Super Saiyan? What are you talking? Isn't he going Super Saiyan? And Broly's dad, Paragus, is like, what? The legendary Super Saiyan? What are you talking about, Lord Frieza? And he's like, wow, he really just can't go Super Saiyan. That's disappointing. I wonder how that Earthling went Super Saiyan the first time. And he remembers killing Krillin, and he's like, oh, neat. And he kills Paragus, and then he, like, clears his throat, and is like, oh, Broly, it's terrible. Your father was just killed by a stray energy bolt. It's the worst. And Broly immediately goes Super Saiyan. It's incredibly funny. It's like, wow.
Oh, no.
Frieza's got those RNG speed.
Okay, like, as the gag, it's okay, but, you know, it also, like, is very stupid. Like, is whatever.
So there are moments that manage to kind of, but ultimately, one can do it now, and it's, wow, this is the yeah. So it's a really effective had been up to that point, and then it off there. I'm like, he made it back to Earth, and everything Earth could build an android stronger.
Oh,
than a
come
Super Saiyan.
on.
Yeah, so that's about that would be ridiculous that some human on Earth could build an android.
See, that's like, like, you know,
Yeah,
this
so
is
that's,
this is there we go. That's the fucking basic takes that I was worried about, and it's like, oh yeah, no. Dragon Ball ended in Frieza because it makes no sense that androids could be stronger than Frieza. Dragon Ball finished there because it's like, come on, you guys are boring. Get better criticisms.
That's my extensive over an hour rambling about why I think Dragon Ball is cool, actually. One other point, just real quick, is that a lot of what made this so effective in the anime is that I watched it in the Kai dub, which, for those of you who are unaware, when Dragon Ball was first dubbed in, like, 96, quality was not, let's say, good, and they've released other dubs since then, but, like, this is the dub that they did when all the actors had, like, 20 to 30 years of voice acting experience under their belts, and were all really, really good at what they did, and it's so much more effective. Chris Ayres, rest in peace, did a really good job playing Frieza and making him genuinely very intimidating. And that is a huge part of what makes this so effective, because a lot of people who would watch this on like Toonami in 96 when it first came out would have seen kind of the silly version where Frieza's like, that's right, boys, I'm gonna show you my second form, but I never transform without a countdown. Is this guy for real? So, you know, like, it's a lot more impactful
Where
when
it's actually
well
serious,
executed.
yes.
Shocker. But that's why the manga is the superior version. Anyway,
manga's good,
so, as we all know,
Just gonna drop that spirit bomb in the chat and fly away.
yeah, I need
It's
all of
not.
your
I
angry
mean, it's
comments
not
to
a.
give
It's
me
not
energy.
a. It is not a debate. Like the anime filler is atrocious, and we all know this, and everybody knows this. Like, yeah, some really damn good Shigeru Yamauchi directed episodes does not change the fact that that the pacing in the Dragon Ball Z anime is atrocious.
Um, so yeah, I can keep coherent, and the slide's a little slow. It's only just fewer than the plot requires. Oh boy, they're still we normally do.
All right, yeah. Anyway, that's about it. That's about it. Where's me? There's me. Hello. And where's the chat? Chat is there. There we go. Ah, yeah. So yeah, like, yeah. Oh, it's okay. At the end there was sort of like yeah. This is why I think the Dragon Ball should have ended after Frieza, which is just basic take. Like, come on, guys. Like I said, I guess yeah. The problem is people. It's that people blame Dragon Ball for the problems that Shonen Jump itself is. Like it's not like I said, it's not Dragon Ball's fault that it kept going. It's Shonen Jump's fault. And Cell Arc is my favorite. So screw you guys. if Dragon Ball ended at Frieza, we wouldn't get Cell Arc. So it's kind of that simple. And sometimes it can be that simple and petty. Sometimes it can be that simple and petty and say, I don't want Dragon Ball to end here because this part afterwards was good. Like, come on. It can be that silly. Yeah, so I was worried I was gonna be like a really annoying salty bitch and be like they just don't get it. They just don't get it. I know what Dragon Ball is. If I made this video, it would be good. But no, it's basically just properly talking about the Freezer arc in a normal way. It's like yeah, fair enough, reasonable. So yeah, so I'm probably gonna go and have something to eat or whatever, and yeah, like I should be doing. Like this kind of reaction stuff, I like, at the very least, I like doing this stuff more on Twitch, because also it means that if I do something stupid, I can just, like, not keep a VOD of it, and just delete it, and say, like, yeah, this doesn't need to be on my channel for all eternity, this is just some stupid thing I did. And also, it's like, as well, I can get the content out without, like, first having to record it all, hope that it turns out good, second guess myself, and then like not upload it. Here I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna casually give it a shot, and if people don't like it, it's not a big deal. I don't lose subscribers really for it, because yeah. So again, for why I came to Dragon Ball, so I get it. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. But yeah, but I might want to like start doing more DBZA reaction things on Twitch. Not like not for a try to be a big Twitch streamer thing. It's just because it's something to do, and like when I make content, I feel good. I really need to talk about the new movie though, because there's so much to talk about, and that's the problem. Because it's such a fascinating fucking thing. Because I'm just like, whose idea was this? Who thought? Who wanted to do this? Because it's something I would like to do, yeah, but Dragon Ball never does what I want. I'm this weird minority opinion, and every time I say something, Dragon Ball does the opposite. When I say something is a stupid idea, Dragon Ball specifically does it. If I drench an idea from the fandom and say it's bad, they will specifically do it next time, just to spite me. So, I'm really confused on why this movie is happening. I'm not complaining. I am not complaining. My only complaint is I'm worried that the CGI might not look good, and it'll make the thing kind of just feels all weirdly rushed or something, and it won't have enough time to production. That's my concern. But everything else, I'm like, I'm not complaining at all. So it's gonna be a very, very interesting thing. Well, that's the thing. Like, it's Murphy's Law, but in the opposite direction. Normally, I specifically say, "Oh God," in fact, like even if you, so I turned on YouTube replies again for like random comments I did, and I got one from like me commenting on an old like podcast thing that Danny did, Geekdom 101 did, and I'm like, it's me talking about like people asking everybody asking why Broly's coming back. That doesn't make any sense. That's really weird. I haven't heard anything about Broly fans or whatever. And then I see a whole bunch of that was a comment from 5 years ago, and then people are saying like, well, this comment sure aged well, and I'm like, yep. It did. It sure did age, right? Because every time I say this is a stupid idea, they do it. So, my relationship with Dragon Ball is fucking fascinating. And it's like feels like a monkey's paw bringing Gohan back, but it's a CG movie. Like, I'm okay with a CG movie. I'm not against the idea of a CG movie. If anything, like the way AJ was framing it, of how it's like, they want to Toei wants to have a CG movie for like kind of almost like a not like a like almost like a business investment, like a to show other people that they have a CG department, they can make a CG movie, and Dragon Ball is very safe and familiar, so it's something that could work well for a CG thing. It's not necessarily a future of Dragon Ball is always going to look like this. It's just more of a they're trying something to get that in their pipeline of projects that they have made, which is, it's interesting. It doesn't mean it can't be good. It just makes it interesting. But yeah, I should probably get something to eat because I'm starting to get hungry and whatever, and I have to. I guess I did start doing the kind of emotional talking about things and whatever, but I just hate One Piece out of spite for stealing the stuff. Like, yeah, whatever. I mean, meanwhile, I'm just sad because my favorite staff guy from Super, who I don't even remember his name now, 100 the 110, 118, 129 director. He went on to Digimon, and the Digimon stuff hasn't turned out to be good, and so that's kind of sad. So I hope he gets to do an episode director of something again, because his episodes are like my favorite thing. I'm just mad Gohan isn't his great Saiyaman. Yeah, we'll see. I hope you're right. It probably won't be there because it hasn't been in the merch yet. They're not going to keep that a secret because that's not a thing that you save until the very end as a surprise. Like, that's just kind of like one of those expected things. But we win some, we lose some. Like Gohan in this movie, it was like such a weird fucking compromise to try and please everyone. And I'm happy because I'm just that person. You'd think that would make him feel like cheap and weird and make me not like it. But for me, it's like I'm just glad he's here. It's like I'm just glad he showed up kind of thing. That is my standard. I don't care like how important he is. I'm just glad he's there. If anything, it is if he gets too important, that's my problem. I'm just glad he's here as opposed to, literally never even, not even existing in the last movie, not even in flashbacks. So, it's gonna be, it'll be an interesting time, and I've got no idea what it's gonna be like, and, people's hype is kind of relative, and I understand why, but, I don't like the Broly movie, so I like this movie. It'll be fun. It'll be interesting time during April. We'll see. We're gonna have a lot of discussions about it. I know, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Who are they trying to please with the Yamcha manga? I just assume like old school like Dragon Ball otaku guys, because it's kind of like it's literally Yamcha isekai. It's like a joke, right? Because it's like isekai is fucking everywhere in the otaku scene right now, and so like let's just do isekai, but it's Yamcha and everybody talking about their like real big deep love and knowledge of everybody of all the like Dragon Ball manga knowledge. It feels like that's what that market was for. Oh yeah, I was gonna say you haven't found out about the new movie. Like you could probably just like type into Google Dragon Ball movie 2022 and you can find out about it. So it's a new one. It's CG. Gohan's in it, and it's about superheroes and Red Ribbon Army android things. I guess it'll be interesting. But yeah, so yeah. Anyway, nice speaking to you guys always as usual. I'll speak to you all soon. Next time is a stream or whatever. So this was actually a lot more fun than I thought it was gonna be. I thought I might get bored partway through, and I got bored at the post sample, but Anyway, thanks everyone for showing up, and I'll talk to you later.